Hey guys, it's Grace, and today I'm going to be doing a brief little video about relationships and how to survive long distance. As you can see, I am back in my old room by the walls because I'm on spring break this week. So I have some notes right here to refer to throughout the video, but basically my experience with quote-unquote long distance. My boyfriend and I go to separate colleges. We're about an hour and a half away from each other, so we're not super long distance, but I have had experience with other long distance things such as friendships and other relationships that were longer distance. So I have some experience with keeping those things alive and the tips and tricks that you can use to keep that relationship strong. So I have 5 tips and tricks, and then I just have some other general advice to talk about. I definitely think that being in a long distance relationship is something that you have to decide for yourself. It depends on the person, it depends on the relationship. It's really up to you and your partner. It can work out or it can go completely and utterly wrong. So the first tip slash trick is to distract yourself. So throwing yourself into other activities such as schoolwork if you're going to college, work if you're not in college, activities like clubs and sports and other friends that are near you is great. Having other things to keep you occupied will make you kind of forget about the distance that you share and the time that you're going to spend not seeing them. Number 2 would be plan ahead. So plan ahead times where you'll be able to visit them, even planning times when you can Skype them or call them weekly or anything like that. It'll give you something to look forward to, and then you won't be kind of like wondering when you're going to see them next. Number 3 would be to put aside money to go and see them or have a vacation with them or travel to visit them. So this is super important, especially if you're very dedicated to the relationship and you really do want to see them a lot. I would definitely suggest having like a piggy bank or whatever that you can just throw money into every once in a while, save it up. It's a way you're not looking at it, you don't physically have it with you, and therefore you won't spend it, and you'll have a little fund that you can open up and look and say, oh, I have this much money, that'd be great, I can save this up, put this towards a plane ticket, put this towards a bus ride, whatever, to go and see your significant other or your friend. Number 4 is to Skype, FaceTime, and phone call as much as possible. These things exist for you to be able to use them. I know Skype is free, FaceTime is completely free if you have an iPhone or a MacBook as well and you don't have Skype. And phone calls, I mean, if you have a cell phone and you have an unlimited call plan, free, quote unquote. So these things are here for communication across long distances. That's why we have them. So definitely use them, make your significant other use them, and just use them to your advantage. Number 5 is use the alone time that you have right now to get to know yourself a little bit better. So I'm a proponent of knowing who you are and being happy with yourself before you get into a relationship, and not using a relationship to solve your problems or fix yourself. So definitely using this time that you have by yourself to an advantage. Relationships are a lot of work, and sometimes long distance relationships are even more work, but you're not seeing the person every day, so now you have so much more time to be able to appreciate yourself and go into yourself and figure out what you want to do in life, do the things you really enjoy to do. Now you have all that extra time to be able to do that. Now I have some general things that I kind of want to say about long distance relationships, and this can go for friendships as well. I'm not talking about just romantic relationships. Friendships are definitely something that are a struggle to keep up if you're not in the same place anymore, especially if you've gone from high school to college, and some of those relationships that you had before, you're not seeing the people every single day in the hallway or anything like that. So if you weren't really close friends beforehand and you didn't have a really close bond, you may have seen a disappearance or a disapprobation of that friendship, and it's really hard to keep it alive in those kind of situations, unless you're very dedicated. So, general tips. Communication is very, very key. I say this for any relationship, whether you're long distance, any friendship, you want to be sure to be communicating and talking to each other about anything that happens. You want to be able to have that back and forth be able to happen, be comfortable with each other, and trust each other enough to be able to communicate. Trust is a whole nother thing. Definitely you have to be able to trust them enough to know that they will not cheat on you, they will not get interested in other people while they're long distance, or if they do, that they'd be able to tell you. That's the most important thing. If you're not feeling it anymore, or if they're not feeling it, you guys need to trust each other enough and communicate enough to be able to talk about it and work through it. And this is especially important with long distance, because sometimes if communication is not there and the trust is not there, that's when things start going awry. And that's when people start making different decisions that they may have in a non-long distance relationship. And sometimes long distance just isn't for you. It's really up to your personality, how you're feeling about it, how you're feeling about this person, whether you think you guys can do it long distance or not. Sometimes you have a really strong relationship and going long distance just isn't the right thing. I like to think that if you can make it through a long distance relationship, you can make it through anything with that person. So long distance is very, very taxing at times, especially if you really want to see the person, you really love them, and you can't see them all the time. And it's a struggle because you love this person, they're your best friend, and you want to spend all this time with them, but you're not able to. So I like to think that if you can make it through long distance and still have a healthy, successful relationship, then you can honestly make it through anything together. I would say don't let your long distance relationship take over your life. This is kind of along the lines with the whole, using the time that you have alone to better yourself. You need to make sure that academics are coming first, that anything else, work in your life, other people that are here are obviously also going to be a very huge part of your life, and you don't want to let this long distance relationship completely take over your life. That's not saying it shouldn't have a very integral and important role in it, but you also need to focus on things that are important to you here, physically, with you, and the things that are going to further your career or further your goals in life. I would say make sure it's worth it to you. I don't think long distance relationships with people who you don't see yourself with for a long time are worth it, honestly. It's a lot of effort to put in to keep communicating with someone long distance, and that goes for friendships as well. If your friendship is toxic or your relationship is toxic and you're trying to go long distance, honestly, I don't think it's worth it. You just have to weigh whether this relationship is really important to you and you think it's healthy for you, and weigh the weight of long distance. The last thing I have to say is that the effort should be equal. So you're in a relationship, whether that's a friendship or a long distance romantic relationship, if both of you are not putting in the same amount of effort, it's not worth it. Obviously, that other person doesn't care enough about you or doesn't care enough about the relationship to put in that effort. And that's obviously a conversation to be had before anything drastic happens. But if they are not putting in the effort that you have been putting in for the relationship, then it's not worth it for you to waste your time and effort on all of that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below for more if you haven't already. If you'd like to check out my previous video, it is on that side of the screen, and my previous vlog is on that side of the screen. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.